You know what? Who we have on the line right now? Every Wednesday this time.
That's right.
The great Dan Orlovsky. We will keep you up to date on what's happening in Toronto. It's 1-1 right now, top of the ninth inning. And Dan joins us on the show. Dan, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you guys?
We're doing okay. We heard what you said earlier about Daniel Jones, but we want to hear it from the horse's mouth. Let's say you're grading on an A, B, C, D, E, F scale. How did Daniel Jones do in that game?
Oh, I would give him an F in that game. I think listen, one, there was 2 interceptions thrown, probably could have thrown 3 or 4. 2, I think some of the, RPOs that they ran, I don't think his decision-making on the RPOs was really good. 3, there were some misses that didn't lead to, almost interceptions, but just missed throws. As a quarterback that's supposed to be highly intelligent and really accurate, he's got to hit some of that stuff. I thought he got stuck on some progressions that could have led to maybe some easier stuff. And then, again, not knowing when pressure's coming and when it's not coming was an issue again. So I would give him an F in regards to, I understand, like the Van Ginkel pick 6, it sucks. It's a bad break, bro. I don't know if there's a ton he could do on that one, but you're looking for signs of life and signs of improvement or signs of things that you can hang your hat on. I just didn't see any of that. And to get, wildly outplayed by a guy that, everyone thinks stinks, it's tough. It's a tough performance.
Listen, we know he has his limitations, but it's not like we haven't seen life. Forget about 2022. This is a guy who threw, 25 interceptions, 25 touchdowns his rookie year? I mean, we have seen glimpses. It hasn't been consistent, but we've seen some ability there. Is it a confidence issue? Is it a talent around him issue? Why has there been such a regress in his career here?
I think Daniel Jones is shell-shocked. I think Daniel Jones is absolutely scared to do anything bad. I think that, the way I've kind of correlated is imagine that scale of 0 to 10, right? And I thought in 2022, what Brian Dable did a great job of was, okay, we're not going to take Daniel. 0 is, let's play as I guess it's worry-free, and we're not going to do anything bad with the football, to 10 being, oh my gosh, he's the most reckless player in the NFL. He changed it to 0 to 5. He never gave him the opportunity to get to 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I think Daniel has now governed himself down to a 3. There's no freedom in his play. There's very much so a robotic element. And so I think there's a shell-shocking of, oh my gosh, I've been hit a ton. I've got injuries. Everyone thinks I stink. This is a city that's unbelievably passionate and no one likes me. And I don't want to be the reason that we lose games. I think Daniel's at that point where, he's not trying to be the reason they win games, but he's certainly trying to be the reason that they not be the reason they lose. And right. I think that is just, there's a lot of butterfly effect to that when you play that position, man.
Do you think that a move to lock is going to happen?
I think if it doesn't get significantly better, it has to happen. It has to. Brian Dable is going to have to do it. Joe Shane's going to have to do it. You're going to have to do it for that locker room. I just think unless there's a significant uptick in the performance and also that performance marrying wins, you guys know this league. It's just at some point you got to change that most important, most impactful position to somebody else to see if there's some different type of result. And so, yeah, unless it changes quickly in a relatively significant way, for sure, Drew Lock will be the person.
I guess we need to know how they feel about Lock, because if you go back to Hard Knocks, you got the sense that he was the insurance policy in case Jones wasn't ready to start the season. But if they brought him in because they think there might be something there, then you might see him sooner than later, right?
Yeah, and it's also, okay, so obviously this is all hypothetical. I don't think anybody hopes that Daniel Jones continues to play at a poor level. I think everyone's like, gosh, just as a human being, can he have some success so he gets a good week mentally? Living in the world where there's not a ton of improvement, at some point as the head coach, it doesn't matter who the other person is really. you can't continue to lie to your locker room. And at some point, if the defensive guys and your offensive linemen, you're going to go, we're going to try something different. And whether they think Drew Lock is the future or better or whatnot, you can't just continue to roll out the same thing and expect to get the same level of excitement, commitment, effort from a group that is going to feel defeated.
Talking with Dan Orlovsky, his weekly segment on the show. The Mets have the bases loaded in the ninth inning. They've broken up the no-hitter. It's a 1-1 game. Alonso's at the plate, 1-2 with the bases loaded. Now let's move over to the Jets, Dan.
Oh, boy.
Same grading system. What did you give Rodgers on Monday night?
Yeah, I'd probably give him a C+. Yeah, I was a little bit more optimistic than I think a lot of people were, certainly Mad Dog, about the Jets' performance. I wanted him to see three things, really. One, could he still throw it in a game? I know I can see clips on social media with no pads on, but could he still make some, oh my gosh, Aaron throws? And he did that to Garrett Wilson. He did that to Lazard a couple times. So I saw him still being able to, he can still spin it. I think, two, what was the connection with Garrett like? Was it real? Again, you hear all the, oh my gosh, these guys in practice look amazing. And I think we saw 5 or 6 elements of that. You go, yep, that connection's going to be really good this year. I think Garrett goes for 110 catches or something. And then how does this offensive line look pass pro-wise, and could they hold their own against a really big-time front in San Francisco? And I thought they did that. So I'm encouraged by that. I think there were 2 misses from Aaron, one being the interception where you can tell he's a little hesitant in the pocket and he feels pressure that's not there. And, he misses a throw a good 2 or 3 feet behind the guy. So I was optimistic. That's a really difficult unit to prepare for in week 1. Did it look worse than I expected? Sure, but I also don't think the Jets are going to have 2 possessions where the ball goes to the other team in the first play or 2. So I think I'm optimistic.
Does he seem a little less nimble than he used to be? Does he seem a little slow?
I think there was a couple examples, maybe him spinning out over his shoulder to his left, getting out of the pocket where he kind of throws it away, where, I don't know if he's fully as sudden as maybe he might get to. And, I don't think he's as nimble as he was 3, 4, 5 years ago. That's natural. I think he's plenty nimble enough. Again, first time playing, I think he'll only get better in that world. But I think that's going to be something that is going to be enough for him to play at a high level.
Mets take the lead. Pete Alonso, sacrifice fly, 2-1 now, top 9. Dan, we were talking earlier in the show. Tennessee plays a tough game in Chicago, makes some mistakes, comes up short. Will Levis certainly doesn't look like a world beater, but they did not play a bad game. What do you expect to see this Sunday in Tennessee from the Jets, and how concerned would you be if the Tennessee offense is also able to move the ball well on the Jets defense?
I would be highly concerned, especially if it looks the same. Now, one, I believe that the Jets defense was schematically an alignment set up to fail. I don't think that Robert Saleh and Ulbrich did a good job with that. As an offensive person, I got my guys to the second level consistently in the run game. That's on you guys, okay? So I think they'll tighten some of that up and give their guys a little bit more chance to be successful. Tennessee with Brian Callahan, Levis, they didn't have a ton of success last week in anything, really. And so I think that this Jets front, now the left side of Tennessee's offensive line is really good, but it's very young. The right side of their offensive line, so the left side of the Jets defense, should absolutely dominate this football game. It dominates the game. And so with the zone stuff and Will Levis still trying to figure it out, that defense shouldn't really give up more than 14 or 17 this week. I do think it's another good challenge for the Jets offense. Bernard Wilson is the defensive coordinator for Tennessee, comes from Baltimore's place, and, you're going to see a lot of different movement. You're going to see a lot of interior. The Titans defensive line is a freaking problem. Jeffrey Simmons and Sweat, their young rookie out of Texas, they're like 750 pounds of athlete. And so that's going to be a problem for the Jets, again, for their offensive line, just to try to handle that. But I think if they can, put a couple drives together, not give the ball away, play really complimentary football, I do think the Jets should win.
All right, so here was my concern about Monday night, Dan. I want to run it by you. A lot of people that we respect have the Jets going far. They have them making the playoffs, maybe going a couple of rounds. Some have them going to the Super Bowl. Why should there have been that much of a disparity between a team that's legitimately that and the Jets?
Yeah, so number one, they were outcoached. There's no question about that. And I think a lot of teams will get outcoached by San Francisco, okay? I think, two, I want to be honest with you. That's a really difficult team to start the season with when it comes to coming off of training camp. It's hard to simulate the speed that they play at on both sides of the ball and the physicality that they play at both sides of the ball. Married with their scheme, it's just hard to simulate. You ain't going to get that, practicing against the the Giants. You're not going to get that. And the way that they, as fast as they are and as physical as they are, that's just really hard to simulate in practice. And I think they were caught off guard a little bit by that and get, overwhelmed by it a little bit. And so I understand that you're sitting there going, well, how is this team going to go to the Super Bowl? San Francisco is going to do that to basically everybody in the NFC outside of maybe. I'll remind everybody, the year the Rams went to the Super Bowl, okay? San Francisco week 1 beat the absolute crap out of them. Mm-hmm. So it's just that's a tough unit to go against, especially early in the season.
Dan, great stuff as always. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.